So to reset, we have a delay in the confirmation of Donald Trump's Supreme Court pick, Brett Kavanaugh. Senate Judiciary Committee was scheduled to vote on that Thursday in committee and then move it on to the full Senate. We now have a delay because of a sexual assault allegation against Brett Kavanaugh. Both Kavanaugh and his accuser are going to participate in a public hearing next week. Now, in the meantime, and this is where it is getting extraordinarily interesting, 6 more witnesses are wanting to speak, are ready to speak about wrongdoing they claim they have knowledge of on the behalf of Brett Kavanaugh, and they are worried about the repercussions they might face. They all went to attorney Cyrus Sinai, who says that he sent a letter back in July, not only to the top Republican on the Senate Judiciary, Chuck Grassley, but also to the top Democrat, Dianne Feinstein, saying, listen, multiple employees of the federal judiciary are ready to speak to investigators and tell what they know about Brett Kavanaugh. They received, the law firm and the other individuals received no response from Chuck Grassley nor from Dianne Feinstein. He made it clear they have a story to tell, but they're afraid of retaliation. And the subject matter appears to be things that happened involving Brett Kavanaugh and his mentor, Judge Alex Kaczynski. Kaczynski eventually resigned in shame after sexual harassment allegations. And the question is, how much did Brett Kavanaugh know about what was going on at the time? How much did Kavanaugh willingly look the other way about what was going on? And what, if anything, was Kavanaugh's actual involvement in the sexual harassment that was going on at the time itself? During confirmation hearings, I'll remind you, Kavanaugh claimed that he simply had no idea that anything Judge Kaczynski was doing at the time was taking place. He was stunned. He was shocked to hear what Kaczynski actually did. The problem with that narrative is that what these potentially up to 6 individuals are saying is that they can provide both testimony and potential email evidence that actually Kavanaugh did know and was informed about what was going on with Judge Kaczynski, which would, of course, once again directly contradict Kavanaugh's testimony under oath yet another time. The shocking part, the part that we need to look into, is not that it was Chuck Grassley who ignored this letter from an attorney representing these 6 individuals, but Democrat Dianne Feinstein also didn't respond to the letter. I don't know why, but I want to know why. So what we need now, number 1, is a subpoena for the records that allegedly exist, emails between Brett Kavanaugh and others, including Judge Kaczynski, from that point in time. Number 2, we need to figure out how to protect these 6 people from retaliation, and then let's hear from them as soon as possible, because the time is now. And the term withdraw, the withdrawal of Brett Kavanaugh's nomination, is now being mentioned more and more. It's an early stage. All we have right now is a delay in the vote within the Senate Judiciary, and we will have these hearings next week. Trump has already been asked about, well, are you thinking about withdrawing that nomination? He says that's ridiculous. Doesn't matter what he says right now. What matters is what ultimately happens in those confirmation hearings and whether we ultimately hear from these 6 other individuals. Later in the show, in the voicemail segment, I'm going to deal with the question of, let's assume for a second that Brett Kavanaugh is not going to be confirmed. What happens? And is the end result just as bad? That's coming up a little bit later, but in the meantime, what I want to hear from you about on Twitter at @dpakman and at David Pakman Show, also on Instagram at david.pakman, is, do you think that these sexual assault allegations and 6 new witnesses will actually impact the confirmation process? Or is this just going to be a minor delay that eventually does see Brett Kavanaugh appointed for life to the Supreme Court of the United States? Quick break, a lot more coming up on the program today. Today's program is sponsored in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you've not already heard about Blinkist, it's amazing. It's an app for your phone, tablet, or web browser. And what they do is they take nonfiction books, popular nonfiction, critically acclaimed nonfiction. They condense the book into a 15-minute audiobook. You get all the most important information and insights from each book, but you can soak up the entire essence of the book in one sitting. I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. One recent one is Robert Reich's new book, The Common Good. Also, Bunk by Kevin Young, useful in preparing me for the pseudoscience miniseries that we're producing. And if you are a David Pakman Show viewer or listener, you can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, use the link in the video description. After the free trial, if you like it, you can get the full access to thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.